welcome to our 124th episode, even though on Facebook it says 125, of Gorilla Radio. I'm Joe Caprino. We are back. It's sectional time. I'm working on some rankings and trying to get the last couple out. How are the rankings going, Mike? How are the changes?
Uh, you know, it's always interesting when you get to the sectional times to see like who's going to be in the bracket, who's out of the bracket. So that's always and who's moving weights. So those are always huge. So we had a little bit of that this year, and we were able to go in and move some guys around. So I think most of them are done. I was just looking at it. I don't know why there was one that was all mixed up. So I'm gonna get that fixed, and hopefully we have them out tonight or tomorrow morning.
Yep, sounds good. I know I'm excited. I know we got the Cameron and I went through and pulled all the wrestlers' names and who's all entered in at what weights so that we could be as accurate as possible. And so gave that to you guys, all the rankers, that way we can check and make sure we have right weights. And I found some misspelled names and all sorts of fun, just little things like that I was able to fix up so that we have our databases as accurate as possible. That's one of my biggest pet peeves is having misspelled names and people not telling me that we've been spelling someone's name wrong all year long. So,
yeah, I think obviously that's huge. Like those guys want to be recognized, and I think especially this week, you want those guys to get the recognition and get ready for the state tournament, man. It's it's been a pretty quick season, but I mean I'm sure a lot more probably a lot longer for the people that were in it, but as a fan it's been pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely. I was just like, man, last week I thought we were at Westfield, it seems like, and then all of a sudden we're here. We're here and it's sectional time. I mean, four events left. Not much else to do other than sit back and hopefully everything's ready and kids are ready to wrestle. So, before we get too much into that, we had a pretty fun event on Friday. Let's, I guess, dive into the Crown Point and the Crown Point Mount Carmel match. That was a lot of fun. Mike took me through Black Oak, which was a very eye-opening experience.
Yeah, you just gotta see how the other side lives, man. There was an accident on 8094, so we jumped off on Grant and took 25th all the way to Klein Avenue Service Road. So, got to see the new casino. Got to see, the Brady's This Is It. Got to see the Black Oak. It used to be the Friendly Tab. Now I forgot what it's called now. Tavern on in the Oaks.
Yep, that's where our guy Artie plays. DJs every night or like all the weekends, right?
Yeah, Artie's there. So we got to see that. I seen that he posted it and you commented on there.
Yes, yeah. I was like, hey, man, we missed him.
Joe got a little slice of Americana, man. Got to cut through Gary and then got to go to the south side of Chicago.
Oh yeah, yes. It was the Mount Carmel was really cool. I know my wife. It's kind of funny how my wife's uncles both graduated from Mount Carmel, so it's kind of neat to see that that gym was freaking crazy. That was like a sweet environment. I should pull up that picture.
I thought that was a really cool. We talked to those guys. I got to see Kike the next night too at a quinceañera. We were talking about they have a bigger gym, but they wanted to have it in that gym, and just with the history and we talked about it last week. The Mount Carmel, program just has a ton of history, and the legacy there is pretty great, and they put on a great show, man. It was awesome. It was probably one of the best duels I had been to, just like atmosphere wise. It was really cool.
Yeah, that atmosphere is. I mean, I was talking to we were talking to Bill and them afterward. Whether you're a JV kid, varsity kid, whether you win or lose, even the managers, I'm sure, are going to be like, man, that was a really cool event. And you know what? In 10, 15 years, you're going to be like, who won that match? You won't remember who won it, but you'll remember that atmosphere. And that's pretty cool. And I know we were giving Bill a hard time. We go, you got to find some kind of you got to find an environment like that. You got to find where's the old Crown Point High School, you know, the gym that's that tight
Yeah.
and just people on top of each other. Just, I mean, I don't know how the wrestlers heard anything. There was no buzzer on the clock, so I don't. I mean, there was a couple of times where the wrestlers wrestled a few seconds longer, and you know the other refs trying to wave to them, hey, hey. But I mean, it was just
Yeah.
loud and it was fun.
What was cool is that me and Nick kind of said the same thing. It just the way like everyone was kind of on top of you, and like the electricity in there felt like how Maryville semi-state used to feel, like how tight it was. You know, we didn't go to Sharks. We went back up 41. I feel like we had to get these guys home.
Nick's
But
mom was really worried. He didn't tell her that he actually was going into Chicago, the South Side, and is uh, so he had to call her on the way home, say that he was alive and well.
and I thought that like just the you know, like the energy was like it was tight. It was like there was a lot of standing room only. Um, you know, the student section there's like an upstairs track. I mean, you could probably see in the live stream. And dude, like even like you said, like even in the JV matches, it was getting you know, or whatever varsity two or whatever you want to call it. They were getting hyped for that. You know,
Yeah,
we knew right away that it was gonna be like a good duel because I think there was some back and forths in there, and they were getting crazy for it.
yeah. The even the student section, even there in the JV matches, were chanting and screaming. I mean, that really a lot of good student support there, which is pretty cool. And I'm excited for next year. I hope Bill can find a good, nice, tight venue. We were kind of scoping out places on the way home, like found saw an old like supermarket or whatever where it looks like it was really tight that you could stuff a couple hundred fans in there and make it crazy. So
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know I wrestled at the old Crown Point gym. I don't remember if it was like that small. I don't think so.
mhm.
You know, you just have to get a lot of people in the Crown Point gym to make it like the same atmosphere. But it's just like the way that it was like constructed, like it really did feel how Maryville felt back in the day, where for the first two rounds it really kind of was tight and not not a lot of good angles to see wrestling at. But then like once they brought those bottom bleachers, like you were right on top of the action, and that's kind of felt there, you know. Like I don't know, like at the video, I went back and watched a little bit of it, and I don't know if like the vibe of it, like if it really came through. I know you could see across and see the students because like the camera angle, you were right across and you could see all the students over there. But I know like some of the off the screen stuff with the the penalty points and stuff. I know a lot of people were like texting and like, what's going on? But it was awesome, man. And it lived up to it. We kind of said that before about, Mendez and Seltzer. And I guess 2 times in one season, it's weird to say, but it definitely lived up to the hype that, that those guys were putting on. And it was just a great event.
Yep, definitely. And I mean, those types of events are great for wrestling, and it's good. I'm glad it was like on a Friday where there was. Unfortunately, we had to go up against Michigan versus Penn State, but there were quite a few people watching, and I know it was a good. I mean, a lot of people are sitting at home, not doing too much, and able to sit and watch, and not if you're doing it on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, there's a lot of events going on, and I know it is in our plans to do some more. We're looking for some good duels. I mean, and it doesn't have to be 2 nationally ranked teams. It could be 2 good rivals that are, maybe some, ranked and, 1 or 2A, some good just rivalries where there's going to be good, loud, rowdy fans and, a lot of good action and stuff like that. So it's something that we're looking forward to do maybe some more next year. I've already purchased some new headsets because I know mine was spiking a little bit, so that stuff is not cheap. Just so you guys know, but we have some solid equipment and the ability to get some more if we need to branch out to different areas. But we're definitely looking forward to maybe doing some other duels next year.
Yeah, and I think that was like one of the things I had asked Nick. I know Nick had been a part of those Penn and Mishawaka duels. I know that was a lot of like they used to get that pretty hyped up when Derek was there with those guys and when they were really good. And then I know when they got to Brownsburg, I know they did some big ones with Avon. Just kind of see like I think in the region, I know Marigold's had some good ones. I know I think when Crown Point was starting to get good and Portage was good, I know those started getting really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there should be some good ones over in your area. I mean, I know there's some good, Adam Central Belmont's always a good one here. There's some good Northeast 8. I know, like, 2 years ago, Columbia City Belmont was real good. I don't know if they're going to wrestle anymore, but one of those things that, there's a lot of good stuff. And it's, I like to do weekday stuff. Weekday stuff is kind of, where you're going to be able to showcase the matches and be ready. And, people are going to be able to watch or come, after they're done with their events, they're going to come and watch. So, definitely, I'm just looking forward to, if anyone has any ideas, shoot us a message, and we're interested in doing some more and obviously charging Diaz as much money as possible. I mean, I know $10 is really, it's pretty hard for him to spend $10 for a whole year.
I think that was the other cool thing too was, I mean, obviously none of that was my idea. Like I'm out there while you guys were setting up, I'm out there shaking hands and catching up and, but that we were able to go with the live and the Facebook and people are like, oh, these are not the right names. Like, yeah, we wanted to work the bugs out there. So we didn't have it during the main thing. And it's a process, but I know there's been some big duels over the last couple of years. I know when Perry Meridian went down to Mater Dei, that was a really cool duel. Or even like where, there's a possibility of a big match, which is pretty cool. I think always that would be, a great event to have, on video. And those guys doing that on Friday, a lot of people didn't have to wrestle. And I always said the DAC did that great where they would wrestle on Wednesday nights. And I think that you had a lot of people wrestle on Tuesdays and Thursdays,
Yeah. A lot more teams actually. I think around here, Columbia City kind of started wrestling on Wednesdays, and I started looking at them like I kind of like that. So we've shifted. At least our December duels are on Wednesdays, which gives I like it as a coach because come right out after the weekend on Monday and have a big weight cut practice or have to worry about weight and so that's a smart thing to do as coaches. It's a lot easier to weigh in Wednesday and Saturday than it is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Those types of things.
Yeah, I think. I mean, like I don't look at it from the coach. I just look at, from the fan and like when people aren't going out there. And I know when I was doing a lot of stuff with RSN, they'd always say like you get these huge numbers, and it's like, well, like a lot of these guys know each other through different teams and stuff like that. But people want to see that, and I think the Mount Carmel thing was huge. Like they knew that there was going to be some really good matches in there, and maybe they're not as familiar with the Illinois guys, but a lot of those Illinois guys are Indiana guys.
Yes. Yeah, there's some the Frazier, and I guess we could talk a little bit about some of the matches. The biggest one that we were kind of looking forward to is Frazier versus Lemley, and that was an interesting match from the get-go. I know, first off is Lemley looks jacked. He used to be kind of skinny. I mean, you knew he was strong, but he didn't look strong. Now he looked really good, big.
Yeah, well, I think in the duel in general, I think starting off at 38 or at 82 was good for the momentum of the duel. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Orlando Cruz is really good. He was able to get bonus points there, and they won a tight win at 95. It was Mount Carmel's senior night. He wrestled a senior, and like some of the Crown Point guys had said that to me at the end, like that they were. I think we said it at the beginning, like some of the moms from Mount Carmel. Our mom from Mount Carmel was like right on the mat.
Yes, they were in there. She was like, I think I saw Dad getting down there. Get up.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, so they were going crazy, and I think from the beginning, like I said, like you kind of seen it, and then 95 was a really good match. That was the senior versus one of the twins, and then I think they got bonus points at 220. So Crown Point really got it going, but then obviously Mount Carmel was really good at heavyweight. nationally ranked. And then at 106, I thought that would be. I mean, it was kind of close for a little bit, and then Mendoza really pulled away.
Yeah,
But
he's
man,
pretty tough.
yeah, the motor on like him and Lemley, and I think we said it during the broadcast. It's not a matter of that I felt like they were stalling or not stalling. Like obviously, I'm not an official. I don't. My opinion, it's just an opinion, but I felt like they were just firing off shots, and like you those guys really couldn't get to any offense.
Yeah,
You know, like Gendris was never able to get to a setup or anything because Mendoza was just going and going and going. And then the same thing at so then they took a couple like 2013 was a Crown Point kid Resendez versus Captor. They took that one. I think those were matches that Crown Point might have thought they could have split one of those.
mm-hmm.
And then I thought Jay Acuna looked really good against Evan Cruz.
Yeah, that was a real good match.
We talked about during the broadcast also that you looked at Mount Carmel records and you can throw those out the window. They wrestled probably one of, if not the toughest schedule in the country.
Yeah, where did he say that they're going like this? We're giving them a hard time. Like, yeah, because they wrestled, they lost to Marist, and then they wrestled Crown Point, and then Catholic League, and then where are they going? They're going somewhere this weekend.
Yeah. Well, no, I think they're at Mount Carmel, but it's like Bergen Catholic, them. They just posted. It's another Illinois school and another nationally ranked school. It's I seen that they had posted it. Dude, it's like ridiculous, like how good their schedule is.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff that I think pays off for those guys, you know, and you kind of seen it. Like not that like Crown Point was overmatched, and obviously Crown Point wrestles a great schedule too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was they have a there it is. It's Lake Highland Prep.
Lake Highland.
Bergen Catholic and Prairie Ridge, which that's gonna be pretty good day. Yeah, nothing. I mean, no off weeks for them. So yeah, we're giving Alex a hard time. Like, geez, you guys are taking a week. You know, you guys aren't taking it easy, are you? He's like, nope. So, but he said that their regional, which is their first level of the state series, is not very competitive. So they need to. They like to go a little bit harder towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, what's competitive to them? They obviously they're animals, man.
Yeah.
So Jay Acuna was able to get a huge win against real tough Cruz, and then 26 that was kind of the match we were looking for, and I thought from the beginning Sergio really kind of went at him and imposed his will and held the position like really kind of forced him into some bad positions, and I thought he looked really good. Sergio is really good. I don't think we're breaking any news here.
No.
But he I think that I know Frazier, we've seen that last year a couple times, and it was a close match, and Frazier had gotten some takedowns, and they won't wrestle again in season, but I thought Sergio looked really good. And then that 32 match was really good with Enright and Ball, and those guys were long and funky and getting in a lot of crazy positions, and so then Crown Point ends up taking that one. And then obviously Mendez over Nam Doan, who's a medalist in Indiana. I mean, Mendez is an animal. And then they were kind of giving the business a little bit, but but I think that was really cool. Like the whole atmosphere was really cool of the event. Like the student section really did that. They made that event pretty cool. And 45 Nick Titini with a huge fall. Mm-hmm. I think that put him in like range to win. And then I think at that point, Sammy had, I think if Sammy had got any bonus points, they would have locked it up. And then during that match, I don't know. I thought they got hit for 3 team points. I think someone's saying that they didn't. I don't know. But I thought on the scoreboard it said 3, right?
Yeah, on the scoreboard they took away points after
Well, that was the first one at 52.
Yeah, 52.
It's probably like the middle, right? Like if there's two stories, it's always like whatever's in the middle.
Well,
I think,
they took a point off at 52. Then they took one off during 160 during the
yeah,
melee there, and then at the end of the match
at 170,
at
right?
170 because someone threw some shorts onto the mat, and so I
Yeah,
know
and it wasn't.
yeah, there's no like disputing that, and I know one of the refs, according to somebody else that we talked to, said no, I only gave there's only 2 points, but on the scoreboard they took points off, and so I don't know what, but that's what the final score at least was everywhere else. So I know
Yeah,
it was
I
very
think.
interesting hearing about that.
Well, 52. Like I don't. I mean, dude, it was so loud in there. Like I couldn't tell you what was being said or what wasn't being said.
Yeah,
I know, dude, they were tied on the mat. Like the wrestlers were tied on the mat. The fans were tied on the mat. I mean, like, dude, if you moved over there, like, I'm sure like they were right there. So I couldn't even tell you what was being said. We asked afterwards, and you never know.
yeah.
But then Sammy ends up getting a tech fall, right, which
Yeah.
locks it up for Crown Point.
At that time, yes, it did.
At that time. And then at 160, slam was called, which, you know, that's discretion. Like, I mean, I didn't think it was a slam, but again, I'm only an amateur official. But I you know, you've seen it called and you've seen it not called. You know, like,
Yeah,
like obviously you're a coach. I'm sure you've seen it both ways. Like if you're getting slammed there on a double, like you feel like you deserve a point, and if you're the one doing the slamming, you probably don't. And then that at that point, like I felt like emotions were high. You know, maybe they felt, you know, because they had won, and then it just kind of got crazy for a little bit right there. Like that window right there, kind of like, and it wasn't like the fans got crazy. It wasn't the coaching staff. I think there was some confusion on the board. They're like, oh, like how could Crown Point go there and lose team points? And I'm like, but that's not what happened at all. Like, you know, I think maybe like fans are getting crazy normally, but they're so far from the mat, maybe they're not like being disciplined.
yeah.
But
It's a lot harder to hear them when they're 20 feet away versus,
yeah,
or at least be able to do something. And but when they're, I mean, literally right on the top of the mat. I mean, people were sitting right behind us. You know, we were right on the, you know, a set of bleachers, and I mean, we didn't have chairs. We were just sitting on the bleachers, and there are people on top of the bleachers right above us. I mean, they were right, you know, right over our shoulders and stuff like that. So I mean, it was just tight.
Calumet College head coach and Riley Bettich were there in the house doing some recruiting, like right behind us, and they were in the match too.
Yeah, they
were like yelling for stuff. Like I turned and like I'm watching the Cal College coach yell like for a stall or something, and I'm thinking like, man, he's in it. Yeah. I like it. And that was a good match, man. Colin Kelly and Cody Goodwin was a really good match, back and forth. You know, I think if you're watching the video, you've seen like, you know, just the back and forth on that. I don't think I've ever seen two parents get tossed like that. Or one wasn't a parent; it was like more of a family friend, and then a dad. I thought and they stopped. They like literally stopped the match, like have them leave.
Yeah.
And I think that was off camera because my brother he was texting me, asked me what happened. I mean, I don't remember seeing that and if it did, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But you know, it didn't take away from a good match. It just made it like a long break in there.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what's going on. Then all of a sudden, I think they took a team point, and there goes, you know.
On the scoreboard, they took one, right? Like
they took it. So
maybe that's where like they're saying they're not taking one, but on the scoreboard, it was like I think that's where like that was crazy, man. I think at that point, like the student section is chanting. I think, you know, like the bench from Mount Carmel, and those guys are friends. They're telling them get them out of here, and I just, like I said, like that whole atmosphere was crazy. And then 170 was a crazy match too. It was just back and forth. They were kind of tossing each other their back, and then the Crown Point kids ended up getting pinned, and someone threw like their shorts on the mat.
Yeah.
You know, like from the back. I don't know if it was shorts or what they threw on the mat. I just see something get thrown on the mat, and man, it was nuts.
Yeah.
I think even afterwards there was like some yelling, like
Oh
when the
yeah.
lights came on, and you know,
The student section didn't let up when the final whistle.
no,
No.
they made a little like hype video,
Yeah.
and I mean we kind of shared it with each other. Someone sent it to me, and then I sent it to you guys, and Joe found it, and I'm thinking like, you guys must hate Namdone. Why would you do that to
Yeah.
him?
Yes. Yes.
Like,
Like
why are you trying to get that guy fired? Why would you
I
want to
said a
get
prayer
Vince
for
fired?
Nam Doan before his match. Like,
Yeah.
poor kid, trying to make new friends at Mount Carmel, and you guys are sending him out to be slaughtered.
Yeah. But it was good. I thought the atmosphere was awesome. Crown Point's going to step it up. If it's a back and forth, if there's that Crown Point next year, they're going to have to fill that gym. I think they have like two pull-out sections. They're not. I don't think their gym's as big as Carroll's, but
It's pretty big.
yeah,
They get
they're going to have.
formats in there pretty easily. Yeah, that's gonna be
I know they got
crazy.
the spotlight too. They're going to have to get a DJ, a smoke machine. They're going to have to make it maybe the fire machine. Get it sound like Carver Hawkeye.
They're gonna have to do some. They're gonna get some. They're gonna have to bring in some like big like Michael Buffer, someone to announce, something like that.
Um, I know I was talking to someone. They were saying like, man, what if they invited a couple other teams to that, like DCC, Mount Carmel, Crown Point, and maybe like a Wisconsin team. Was it like Kyle Kua or whatever?
Yeah,
Like for just like one night, like, hey, let's just do this quad, which would be crazy.
yeah, that'd be a crazy. That I don't know if I mean I couldn't handle 3 duels of that caliber. It's just the intensity there. I mean afterward we were kind of like almost like we were wrestling the matches. Like, man, this is
Yeah.
you need to go outside and relax, get some fresh air, and just like, wow, that was crazy.
I know I left you guys in the streets of Chicago for a little bit.
Yes,
Um,
we thought Mike got
but no,
kidnapped. Just
man of the people, man.
yes, that's why you get paid the big bucks. That's how you get all your good information. He was out getting
Uh,
weigh-in sheets while we were getting set up and everything. So
yeah, I got weigh-in sheets, got the starting spot. So yeah, like it was good, man. Like those guys were awesome. They did a great job, man. The setup was awesome. It felt like you left and you're like, yep, that was awesome. That was just a great event.
yep,
Um,
definitely excited to do another one, and it's gonna be hard to top it or even get close to it. But I think we can keep striving for. I mean, good duels are good duels. Duel meets are fun. To watch, and intensity like that, whether it's two local rivals or national level rivals right there, it's always fun
yeah.
to watch.
Well, like I think, like I said, the regions had some good ones. Like Maryville's had some big duels. Portage, Crown Point, that mix has been pretty good. I think that first year they did Hobart and Crown Point, it was good. I know there was a lot of people there for that. Uh, I think it's just one of those things. I'm sure some of those guys down south, back in the day, I know those Belmont Yorktown duels were really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
Oh, those are
that,
intense.
yeah, I'm sure you just got to have that friction. I'm sure when Avon and Brownsburg were both coming up, I see, Christopher Ray Garcia calling out Triple B. Triple B got things going on, man. He's a mover and a shaker.
Yeah, he's changing the world down in Madison, so give him
I
a
know.
break.
He was just at the State House, like doing like a speech, right? Was that what he said?
Yeah, he's at the State House just the other day, and you're worried about rankings. He's changing the world. He's changing Indiana. That's our guy. That's
Yeah.
why we have him on staff. No, yeah, he actually texted me today. He's working on him, and I was kind of helping out, putting in some new names. He's working on him. We'll have him out tomorrow, if not tonight. Actually, probably more likely tomorrow. But yeah,
Yeah.
he actually ran into a snag at work, big snag, and he's like, "Crap just hit the fan, and I gotta deal with it." I was hoping to have a nice, easy day where I could do some rankings on the side here, and stuff hit the fan.
Yeah, I thought last year that Perry duel was cool. What's tough is just finding like the right fit for some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What people want to see and matches that people want to see. Luckily, we've been really lucky where when we've done those, they've came out pretty good.
Yeah,
Where
definitely.
there's been good matches and the host schools have been awesome for us, which is kind of testament to what we've done, and like that we're gonna come in and do it professionally. And I think not like I don't know, like bash people or bash things. I don't think that's what we're doing this for. I mean, obviously you're gonna have. I think we obviously did the guerrilla radios, and there were some bumps and stuff we had questioned, but like it's easy for me to question from my kitchen in Lowell, Indiana. Those guys are out there trying to win.
Yeah. So no, we're definitely looking forward to. I mean, like you said, trying to find those right fits, good nights. Number one, that and we have other people that can do stuff. Like Mike can do it. Nick can, and we've had some other people put on some broadcasts. So definitely looking forward to do some more, and definitely charge. Mainly I just want to charge Diaz more money.
Yeah, and I think I don't know how much. I know Illinois Mattman was there too, and I don't know what they charge. I think theirs is a monthly subscription, but like $10 is literally like I think I said it last time. It's not that much.
Yeah,
I think I spent $10 at McDonald's that day we did the duel.
Yeah. No,
we had a couple beef sandwiches, pretty decent. I watched Joe try to take a 4-wheel drive right over a curb.
I didn't know you couldn't go right there. Just testing out the 4-wheel drive in my truck. It works. I had to do it before the snow came this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's like pretty cool, man. I just thought it was a really cool event. Everyone that tuned in, we appreciate it. Obviously, there was a ton of people there. You've seen a lot of people from a lot of different schools showed up. It's not that far. Obviously, we're right next door to Chicago. It's not like, what was it? 20 minutes once we got. Once we got out the hood, once we got out Black Oak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take you right down to, Terrytown.
We're going to buy some incense from the guy on the corner. Mike said, "Nah, you don't need any."
Yeah.
I was like, "But I need, what if he cleans my window? My window needs clean."
Yeah. I honestly never seen anyone try to buy incense from that guy. And Joe's like, "Hey man, let's get some incense." I'm like, "Man, keep driving. What are we doing?"
Like trying to, hey, he's an entrepreneur. I want to, we're entrepreneurs. I'm trying to help each other out here.
You're like the guy that's like, "Hey man, I got a puppy in my car. You want to see it?" Like, I love puppies.
I'm a sucker for two things: puppies and incense.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
obviously, just different world, man.
Yeah. It's great. It's fun to take Nick through that area. Nick.
Yeah.
I'm not saying by any means I am cultured. By any means, I grew up in Garrett, Indiana, but Nick's a little bit more held, in the basement, and he was like, "Oh, I forgot. I didn't realize it was actually at Mount Carmel. Where is that at?" We're like, Chicago. Like, oh, crap.
63rd and Stony Island, man. You're talking Chicago. You're talking like New Chicago. Like, you're not talking about like the Magnificent Mile. You're talking like South Side.
Yeah.
Yeah, different slice of life over there, man.
Yeah.
So. No, it was cool. I thought that was really cool. It was good to have Nick there. Obviously, anytime we can get Nick, in a wrestling environment, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, he likes to have some fun in there, and we need to get him on the mic next time because he said some things, and I was like, man, I should have just hooked up one of the other microphones, and he could add in his piece every so often.
Yeah, just those nice drops, and he's making it. So all the technical stuff that he was on it, like obviously I think there was one point where you helped him out too on that, but like he's great at it. And me and Nick had went and did what did we do? We did Perry Meridian Cathedral one time.
Yeah.
Like on a whim. Like they were like, "Hey, you guys want to come down?" It was like a Tuesday. It might have been like a Wednesday night. They're like, "You want to come down tomorrow and do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." I think Nick bought a bunch of stuff. It was like, all right, made it happen, and it was an awesome event.
Yeah.
And I drove back. But it was cool. A lot of good, but there's good wrestling across the state. Like some conferences, you got like Solers and Purdy. Solers avenged his only loss in the year, or his second loss. Gave Purdy his first loss in the year. That's going to be a nice little rivalry to close out the season, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that was a big match. Obviously, Solers is going to reclaim. I'm pretty positive Solers is going to reclaim the top spot in the rankings there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of really good conferences. I know the NECC up in our neighborhood, Prairie Heights, got a little bit the best of Garrett, that's pretty good little rivalry. I was watching kind of from home, and it's like, man, and Prairie Heights just had like about 5 or 6 point lead just all throughout the day. I end up talking to Nick on Sunday, I think it was, and just talking about, it's like, what, how do you guys wrestle? Did you guys wrestle poorly? Did they get a couple upsets? And he's like, no, we wrestled above our seeds. They were like +5, like on track. You can see how well you do versus your seeds. They're +5. Prairie Heights was +11. And then I started looking into some of the stats and stuff, and Prairie Heights ended up having like 9 more pins, and I think they won by like 8-ish, 6-10. I can't remember what it was offhand, but so I'm like looking at that. I'm like, when I was talking to Nick, I go, that's why you guys lost. Like, oh, geez, yeah, that makes sense, So
Yeah, I thought. I mean, there's a couple here and there. I think we talked about like different, different conferences, how the weeks go.
Yeah. Adams, a couple other little ups. Adams Central over Jay County at ACAC. That's on a Friday night. That's kind of cool. They run it on a Friday. They used to do it back in the day, up into about the early 2000s when Garrett joined in, when they become an 18, and then they went back to Saturdays. Now they're back on Friday nights. Adams Central got Jay County. I think Jay County had a few guys out. Then Northeast 8. Norwell.
Norwell was on
Belmont's heels.
Yeah, I was watching that one as it went on through the day. Norwell was a team that was in the vote, and I don't know. I thought they had some really interesting results, but no one really, kind of talked about them. But that was good. I was kind of watching that as it unfolded. I was like, oh, they're right there. They were right there most of the day.
Yeah, they had some. It was interesting just watching that one because they had 3 champs. 1, 2, 3, 6 in the finals, but they had a lot of thirds and fourths that kind of kept them in there. And they got a lot of bonus points, which kept them in there. And they ended up only losing by 11 points. Belmont didn't have. That's one of the things that I saw. Gavin Davis, who's there, he's a stud. 145, injured his shoulder at Team State, and I believe he's not going to be wrestling at sectional, unfortunately. But they didn't have him, which would have been probably a champ there. That's you're losing about 10, 15 points there from him not wrestling, which makes it a 25 point difference, and that's a whole different wrestler. That's a champ that someone's missing. So
yeah, I think anytime you lose someone that's going to collect bonus points and stuff like that, it's always going to hurt your team.
Yeah, definitely. What other tournaments were going on? Let's see. CMA invite, Conference Indiana, Terre Haute South, Owen Valley won, Western Indiana, Hoosier Heritage Conference, Greenfield Central, Mount Vernon, and New Powell were all fairly close there. Those are like the main ones that were reported. But yeah, a lot of good matches. Obviously, we don't have the Southern Indiana one. So yeah. Yeah, Tyler, from what I gathered via the Facebook, he is not wrestling. So
yeah, I heard that he's out also. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely.
Tough kid.
Yeah. And having a great season, heck of a season as a freshman at pretty solid weight class, and especially Fort Wayne area guy that probably was right in the mix to grab a medal as a freshman. And definitely he's a Leo kid, and seen him wrestle a lot when he was in middle school, and kind of excited to see him wrestle. And obviously injury sucks, so hopefully he gets better and back on the mat sooner than later. What sectionals do we want to talk about? What's it? What's the big news on sectionals?
Yeah, I think it's always interesting to see, like, we segued in with Gavin Davis. Just it's weird, man. Like when you get to the sectional level and you're going through the brackets and you see like a lot of really sparkling records, and maybe you miss somebody through the season, or guys moving weights. A big one I know we talked about it was at 152, Tyler Jones at 152. That two-time medalist coming down and throwing his hat in the ring there. I think that'd be interesting, for Warren Central. But I think now, like it's just maintaining and getting better every week and staying healthy and setting yourself up with good draws at this first part. And I think it's going to have a huge reflection on team state. I think we talked about it a lot this year, where the tougher road for a lot of the Crown Point kids is going to be through their own regional. And then, now that you're going to get some of those matches at semi-state where you're maybe running some Hobart or, Portage or Maryville kids. But, I think they've wrestled those guys a lot, and they've done pretty well. So now it's how many guys can get to state and how many can get into the semis.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be, obviously, like you said, you got to try to set yourself up as best as possible for the next week. Staying healthy is huge. You have a week before, which is interesting. As long as our state tournament is, some of those guys that are a little bit banged up can kind of, I don't want to say coast, but also kind of, you wrestle one day, then take a couple of days off as far as, light work, and then, get healthier. I mean, you can see some guys get healthy as the postseason gets on, gets further, that they have, if you have something that's bugging you for the first couple of weeks, 3 weeks later, it's going to be better. Your ankle, your knee, or whatever is going to be a little bit better as long as you're surviving for the first couple of weeks and setting yourself up fairly well.
Yeah, and obviously, I would love to tell you that everyone, submits the results or wins and losses. It doesn't really happen like that. So, there might be some guys on the watch list and you see their record like, oh, man, like we had their only loss the whole year was this person. And I think that happens a lot this time of year. Not a ton that are way out of left field. Like there's going to be someone that – and I'm not saying that, we have a crystal ball. There's going to be someone that comes out and, makes a run and be like, yeah, you didn't believe in that guy. I'm like, nah, man, that's just that's the sport that we love. We want someone to come out of left field and, make a run to the state finals or state semifinals and have, 15 losses and be like, dang, man, that guy peaked at the right time.
Yeah, definitely. And we were able to pull, if you didn't notice on the rankings, we do have everyone's record on there. We're going to try to keep those updated throughout the state series. Maybe even add if they're eliminated or not. I don't know. Rankings are done. Yeah, see? You guys get it cheap. We get it cheap in Indiana. $10 for a year, not $10 for a month.
Yeah. And Texas isn't even as good as Indiana.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good match too.
Yeah, Brady Cornwall. Brady kind of dominated in the first time, and I think that they're going to make some adjustments. Dwenger always wrestles better towards the end of the season, and that'll be interesting to see. I know they're two totally different. You have Cornwall, who's short, stocky, kind of a bull, and then you have just a tall, lanky, about 7'4" Brady wrestling him. So it's quite a interesting matchup.
But it's always interesting to see where guys maneuver. I know Columbus East dropped a couple guys down a weight, which is a good move for them. Mm-hmm. But a lot of this is going to have impact on team state. We talked about how important it was, to have those guys at team state and the way they compete it. The better you do, the better you're having there and be able to compete at team state again. I was talking to Quinn a little bit, and he was like, "Yeah, I think we can get this many guys through." And Mooresville is such a highly rated regional. I think getting guys to that regional and getting them through that regional, if possible, is going to be huge points for them, especially in the 1A.
Oh, definitely. He just has to get guys to regional, and if he gets 7-8 guys to regional, most of those guys will at least get semi-state level points, and that's huge at a 1A level. And plus, they have a full lineup, which that gives them about a 20-point bonus or whatever.
So. Yeah. Especially, I know a lot of those teams are aiming for that, and not all the regionals are rated the same, but that regional is tough, man. And we got the brackets for that later, I think earlier than the release, and I was like a bunch of rankings can be taken care of right now if you want to put the records on.
Yeah.
I think Gunnar Henry going to 82 is a good move. It eliminates he did take a loss at 82 at conference, but I think it eliminates the idea that you could possibly have that death draw of the loser of Purdy and Solers.
Yeah, and
You know,
he gets at regional he'll have Buchanan. Win or lose, you ain't drawing him in the ticket round. So
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
huge relief.
But it puts two monster freshman 182s in there, right?
Yeah, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Now, yeah, is there anyone else that would be a semi-state champ for them? You got Emrine, Floyd Central, Southridge, Schroeder. I think he goes through the same. He goes through Bloomington South too. You got Durnell from Columbus East. So some solid guys, but you're not running into Purdy or Solers or
Yeah,
Willman.
yeah, that's tough, man. It'll be interesting. I think we talked about it all year. How a team like Brownsburg, Mater Dei, they could be like picking each other off at the semi-state level and maybe not come down. But their guys will be battle tested, but maybe not come down with the bulk of wrestlers like a Crown Point, could or I don't know. I think it's pretty much those three, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, Center Grove and Brownsburg are gonna have to bang it out at the regional, which is crazy.
Oh, it'd be interesting. It'd be fun if Center Grove went out of like Newcastle.
Yeah, we talk about some of it being down. Like, I don't know how much it's down. In comparison, like there was a couple years, and that's what I was telling Joe when we were doing the duel. Was like people are like, "Oh, the region's down." It's like, well, they got 7 or 8 guys at Mount Carmel that could be state level guys in Indiana.
You
Which
can't
is tough.
replace Sergio, someone like Sergio Lemley. You aren't
I
going to
mean,
replace him. There's no. I
yeah,
mean, he's a state champ. You're not. There's no other state champ just lurking in the shadows, not wrestling
yeah.
right now.
Well, like you look at Damian Resendez at
Yeah,
13, really tough. Jay Acuna, Sertis is the backup at 13, who was, I think he was like in the rank. We had him on, I just took him off the sheet. I don't think he's coming back to Indiana. I mean, even like at 45, that kid was a middle school champ, you
mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah, yeah. So they definitely. I mean, those guys are tough guys. Are going to be in the rankings and making a push for state medals. Whether it's
But,
some of those guys are younger, but I guarantee a lot of those guys would be looking for 2 or 3 state medals by the end. So
but I would be willing to bet Newcastle have some guys in the mix for titles. I mean, they might have to take it home. They might have to get a Newcastle rat and, a city rat and have them post about how they're back the Brinks truck up and stuff like that.
what would be Newcastle? Newcastle would be they got to take the Chrysler LeBaron.
Yeah, Chrysler the Baron drop top. Um, but it's always interesting this time of year just kind of see where the maneuver is at and what guys want to do. I think those are some good moves.
Mm-hmm.
You put guys in the best position to qualify or at least make a run, which is good.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, though, there's like a lot of, we were talking about it too. There's a lot of guys that were in the rankings or on the watch list that aren't in the brackets. Whether it's injury or whatever. You feel bad. Some of those guys are seniors. They're not going to get one last chance at it, and you always feel bad for that.
Yeah, we had I know there are like 170 people that have profiles that aren't in the brackets for whatever reason. We were going over it before the show. Like this guy quit, this guy's injured, this guy's this guy's that. And it's kind of interesting, and seeing some of the teams that have some guys like obviously teams like Carmel and Penn and Center Grove, and those teams have some guys that are backups that are pretty darn good.
Yeah,
and so
very good.
There's not in the lineup. I mean some of those, if you could have multiple entries, I think Center Grove might have 15, 16 semi-state qualifiers out of Morrisville.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got guys like Hyatt Yeager and Drew Mills that are backups that are in the lineup in 90% of the schools.
Yeah, definitely. So that's it was interesting kind of looking at that list. I kind of pulled that from what we had. I'm like, it was kind of interesting who's not in the lineups, and you kind of looking at him like, wonder what happened to that guy. There's some injuries and some other things going on with people, and it's it's one of those
I
things
always
that
like I always find it crazy when you get to like this point and then you find out like someone quit like 2 weeks before it. Like you're like 90% of the way there. Like why
yeah
would you quit now?
yeah, especially some of the guys that are on our watch list, on our in the rankings and stuff like that. But it's, it's interesting times, and I know there's a lot of stress with a lot of things going on with kids right now. So
Yeah, I mean it's tough, man. It's a tough world.
yeah,
Uh, I know Zach just started his website in Wisconsin, and he texted me this morning, kind of venting some of his thoughts about like how do I deal with these emails and Zach did the Newcastle semi-state for us for a long time, and he was awesome,
yeah, yeah, he did a
but
great job.
he's like now he's doing. He said he doesn't get as much in the bigger class, but the lower class out there, he said like he'll get a bunch of messages, and it's funny like because there's similar messages, you know.
It's almost like they use the same template.
Yeah, and it's not like, dude, I get it, man. And I seen that. I seen Jose was on here. He tagged us in an interesting conversation on Facebook.
Yes.
But with on one of the coaches, a club coach, and a dad from I guess not his club, and like what's the proper amount of matches a kid should wrestle, and I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I try not to tell people how to raise their kids, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. Sometimes you just we were kind of doing the math, and there was a lot of matches, man.
Yeah, definitely. There's a as a coach, there's some philosophies that you have, and there's one that I kid had quite a few matches, and I'm trying to do the math on how you can get that many matches in a year.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to look at it, man. I think there's a lot of stuff that people say, and I have no real opinion on it, so I'm not gonna say, well, that's the way it goes, or the way it doesn't go. But when you look at it, man, like, is the kid enjoying himself? And I think that's what it comes down to. Like, if your kid's enjoying themselves, I think you let them do what they do, man. Like, if your kid wants to wrestle 500 matches, and that's really what they want to do, or if it's a girl and she wants to wrestle 500 matches, go for it.
Yep.
I mean, like, you're practicing a lot. Like, if you feel like they're stunting their growth, like, I don't know, man. It's tough. It's a fine line,
Yeah, and every kid. I mean, one thing every kid's different, and that's something we had some parents at we had a little kids club. They're like, oh, I saw there was an event this weekend, and like I was like, okay, how long have you guys been doing this? Oh, we've just been here for a couple weeks ago. You're good for right now. It's like, okay, I
Oh
just want to
yeah.
make sure because someone said they posted this, and I'm like, now we got a couple events coming up in a few weeks. They're a little less intense and stuff, and take your kids there. And then there's some, this is how we should, approach it early on. And then obviously when you get to a certain level, it's, do what,
Yeah.
everyone's different. Some kids can handle a lot of matches. Some, would rather not. And some like,
But
would rather be in the training and stuff like that. So,
I think some of those rooms, you are like, you like to think that you're going in there and getting better or like learning, but like some of those rooms you're getting in there and you're in a fight. You're in basically a 2 hour match, or whatever you're doing for live. I don't know. It's tough, man. I think everyone's different. If that's really what you want to do, I mean, go for it. But I don't think it's. I don't know. I tend to like try to pick people's brains. Like, I think when you're young, you should experience a lot of sports.
I agree.
Like, if you get over and you want to single out and you want to be, hey, I'm gonna wrestle. Like, I suck at baseball, or I'm not ever gonna be the football player I want it to be. But it's the other way too. Like, you see it. Look at Mo. Like, Big Mo. Like, stepped away from wrestling. He was a phenomenal wrestler, state runner up. He's better than 90% of the people that are in the state, and he just gave it up to play football. I don't think. Is there anyone that's going to look back and say like, "Wow, you made a mistake"? Like, maybe. Or on the flip of that, you had G-Lin, who was probably wrestling 80 matches a year, maybe. Not. I would doubt he was even wrestling 80 in high school.
He was wrestling 40.
Yeah,
35,
and
40.
Was a state champ and track, and was a phenomenal football player. I think burnout's such a like a weird thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
It's I don't know. Do you really burn out of anything that you really enjoy? It's if it becomes a job, like I go to work every day. I feel like I'm burnt out on that. I
there's
still
some
got to
days
do
where
it.
I mean, in anything, I mean, work and sometimes you just need a you know sometimes you need a week off and you go on vacation and man, that feels good. There's some days where I just need you need a. I mean, there's some days where I step away from the website, don't look at it. I get home from practice from when I leave work at 3:45 till I barely look at the website. I hope that if anything's bad going on, I get a text from you or Dane or someone
Yeah,
reports it, and sometimes I just don't. I was like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to watch it. I'm just gonna go to bed and have fun with the kids.
yeah. I mean, I think that's a good point too. Um, I think if you're at that high level, yeah, it's good. Like nothing's worse than going to a tournament and getting whooped. Like it does not feel good. Like if you, I think that one. You know, I think that if you're going there, if you're able to wrestle at a high level, that's good. If you want to like continue to grind, like I don't know, like how did a guy like Jesse become that good and doing what he does? I mean, I don't think that guy wrestles probably as much or more than anyone that at the high school level. Like he was competing. I think if he didn't tear his meniscus, he would have competed through. You know,
Yeah,
so it's an interesting conversation. I don't know if there's a like yeah, like there's probably a lot. Like if your body, I thought Tom Dolly made a really good post on there. And I think that's like the other side of that. Like he was said like he was a big like Russell all the time. And then he sees like Alex now, or I mean, I think he said Alex. It might have been Benji. Could be both of them. Now like that's gonna take a wear and tear. Like
mm-hmm.
even if you're not wrestling as much as those guys do, like um, it wears on you. At some point, your shoulders are gonna be aching, your knees are gonna be aching, your hips.
Yep. Yeah, it's there's one opponent that is undefeated, and that is Father Time.
Yeah,
So no, I mean one of the things that I've talked to some people and I've got I have a son. He's 5 years old, and talking to him, he's starting to wrestle. He's starting to like it. At his level, at his age, it's all about being aggressive. Last year when he was doing it, he was kind of afraid to kind of make contact. He could grab a leg. If they're drilling and stuff, he'd grab a leg. He'd know the techniques. But then when they go live, he'd kind of a little bit shy and everything. But now this year, him and the kid he's been wrestling with, they're getting after each other. They're like they're almost throwing fists today, which is kind of fun. I mean, they're both kind of getting a little bit more aggressive and kind of getting after it and things like that and trying things. So it's at that age, it's 100% aggression. How aggressive is a kid? I mean, especially little brothers that get beat up on by their
nice.
older brothers. They're gonna be a little more aggressive. And I noticed that we had a kid last year that my son Rocco would wrestle that was just as good technique wise. Obviously, at that age, technique's pretty. The level of technique's pretty low, but once they went live, this kid just was an animal. I mean, but he had an older brother that about 2 or 3 years older, I think, and just I'm sure they wrestle around every day. I saw them at practice today. They're wrestling around between times when they're supposed to be learning. So that kind of stuff. It's kind
Yeah,
of fun to see, how kids are evolving and stuff.
yeah. Rick posted something like I'm sure he is a good kid. I mean, I think the sport creates a lot of good people. I didn't really look too much into like the who's this and who's that of it. I just thought it like I seen Jose tagged us in it and like I kind of glanced over it and kind of seemed like the back and like a little bit of the back and forth, but like I mean I don't know, it was like 100 something responses, right? I don't got time.
Yeah.
Between watching Moonshiners and Oak Island, I don't have time to do rankings and read Facebook posts.
Yeah, we got
I just
rankings.
thought,
We gotta get out. Come on.
yeah, I think it's just an interesting question, um, and I'm sure it just I think it varies per kid. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, we've a lot of us have seen the what's his name, Kerry Collat story. About
yeah,
how his dad pushed him and all that kind of stuff, and it's interesting to hear coaches whether it's college or even like former good wrestlers, what would I do? What would you do? You're seeing all these guys. What would you do with your son? What would you do differently? Would you take him to all these tournaments? I mean, you hear about guys like David Taylor and stuff who were studs from the get go. His dad was a pilot, so he could get there. Taylor's from like Wyoming, and so they would go to Ohio for tournaments. That's back in when they could just stay on standby and fly somewhere and basically get a free flight, and they'd go to
Yeah.
Ohio or go to somewhere to Oklahoma to train or whatever, which is pretty cool being able to do that.
And it paid off. Like obviously,
Yeah.
David Taylor's amazing.
Yeah.
I think as long as it's still fun, like, I mean, no matter what, like, I don't know, like I played baseball at a pretty good level. Practice wasn't always the most fun, right? Like you feel like it could be, I think you go through it and it can be repetitive, but you want to like compete. Like I think that's the biggest thing. As long as like competing's fun.
Yeah.
Like if we're running, if we're playing cards, I still like to compete. I just can't do it as cool as I used to. And,
Yeah.
I still try to win the pick'ems. Like, but I think like competing is like a very fun thing. And if you're a kid and that's what you find to be fun is competing at a high level like that, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean,
and if you have the means to do it, man, go for it. I think. But on the other side of that, like, I don't know, like everyone has their opinion on how to get there. Mm-hmm. There's no like formula how to get there.
Yeah.
Like if there was, like people would be doing it all the time. I think the closest, and this is like a legitimate thing. I say this a lot. I think Sean Bormet had the closest system to like getting there. Mm-hmm. Like I know a lot of people that trained with Sean Bormet at Overtime that like were winning state titles. Now they weren't the most exciting like state titles you ever saw, but like that guy was like turning out state champs. And I don't know, like at a clip like that. Huh?
And national level. I think someone said, I saw on Twitter the other day, they were talking Bormet. Someone was saying stuff about Bormet, and at one time, in 1 year, the Overtime Club had an age group national team member from like I want to say cadet, juniors, seniors. I mean they had a team member on the national team in each age group, which is just is flat out amazing. So. Yeah, he has a great system. I mean, Michigan's doing pretty darn good.
I'd be willing to bet if you talk to a lot of those region guys that were doing well at that time, whether it be Eric Galka, Kyle Ayersman, Eric McGill. I know Howe was going there, Cosgrove was going there. I would say that had a big part in their development, and that's just a couple guys. I think I don't know if Search and all them were going there. I'm sure they've been in that room. Mm-hmm. But you're talking about. Like as close to a system as like I can think of like people just churning out and like dude like you see some of the other academies doing well like churning out state champs and it's a lot of the same guys mm-hmm. It's a lot of the same teams. It's not like Mauer Coughlin obviously they had a big part of the development there. Contenders had has a good a good run. But they're bringing in high-level guys. RWA, like you can very distinctly see, like some of the like I could go to a local tournament and watch kids compete and be like, that kid trains with Certus. Like that's a Certus trained kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
without even seeing the singlets and stuff. Yeah, you could definitely tell there was a consistent style on Friday because there's a lot of, I mean, there's probably 10, 12 RWA kids. At least on both teams. And then you add in the other 5 or 6 from Mount Carmel that are obviously in that same system.
Yeah.
So
and you see it and it worked. Like obviously they've been able to refine that. Like not everyone's gonna be like not everyone's gonna be a freak of nature like a Jalen Robinson or guys like that are able to just go out there and do it like that. Like, dude, it's rare. Like the athletic gene in that family is unreal.
Yeah.
Like, I think you missed Rocco. I'm sorry, Joe. There's just some things that like people aren't going to be able to do.
Yeah.
And there's guys that like, that have come to the sport that you look at and you're like, yeah, like you really could do that. And, you hope that, but there's different philosophies on that. Like, Chris, I know Chris has said that before about, he took Asa there and it's like, hey, go get it, man. And
Yeah.
some kids that thrive in that. Like, there will be kids, like, I'm sure that's part of Jesse's thing is that he's a kid that doesn't back down and he's like, I'm gonna find a way. And there's other kids that have to like learn it. They have to learn that system.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's and I know I've talked to.
Jay Purdy's obviously his kid's doing well, and
Yeah.
he's probably been in those rooms too, where it's like, and they have some pretty good athletes in that family too. You got a Division I daughter playing softball. I'm sure. I think he's probably going to be a Division I kid too. Like
Pretty good
I would
linebacker,
assume there's
pretty
some
good
Division
wrestler.
I programs looking at him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's I mean it's an interesting thing to talk to parents and see what the philosophies are. I know I've heard some philosophies from Luke Fielden, Clayton's dad, about starting his son and doing stuff. He's learned from a couple other people and stuff, and just kind of picking brains of people and how to get, especially as a coach. Obviously, my son's going to be heavily involved in wrestling. He was taking tickets at IPO. He's going to be involved in the wrestling. He has to go to practice every so often because we don't have someone to watch him, and my wife's not home early enough or whatever, so I have to drag him to practice, and he hangs out in the wrestling room. So I mean, he's gonna be around the sport whether he wants to be or not, and hopefully he soaks it in and enjoys it. And in the end, in the end, I want him to enjoy the sport, and have fun, and hopefully, keep running Indiana mat or coaching or doing something within the sport when he's my age. So
Yeah, I think and obviously we have a wealth of, especially right now more than anything. There's a huge amount of knowledge in Indiana. Like I think there's a lot of good avenues. There's a lot of good academies that are training kids. We have some really good parents that have taken different routes. You know, that's a question I would ask like a Keith Davison, who's got two sons wrestling at the Big Ten level. One was a world medalist. Like what was, and obviously he had to go to the same grind.
yeah,
Like Keith was at Wisconsin. What was your idea with the boys?
yeah,
And like those are built different too. Keith's a big giant of a man.
yeah. And his boy, I mean, Luke and Andrew weren't world beaters as freshmen or sophomores. They jumped some levels in high school, which it was pretty cool to see. I mean, obviously they had the genes and they had the technique, and they've been around the sport forever, but they really took, one of the things I always see is when those guys took some big leaps there between their sophomore junior year, from being bubble state qualifiers to high state placers,
Yeah,
finalist type kids.
yeah, it's a national level.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but that's the other part of it too. Like once you do get to that level, like I don't know, I think like Flo ran, like Tulsa was a couple weeks ago, and they ran a match with Jesse. Like Jesse's like big breakout match from Tulsa, and I was thinking like I wonder what happened to that kid that he wrestled there, because I remember that being a big win for him.
yeah. I didn't
Like
recognize the name. I'm pretty
he was
positive
an
he's not in
Illinois
the
kid
national
too.
rankings or anything.
Yeah, and he was an Illinois kid. Like you wonder like what happened to that kid. What happened to some of those guys that were, some of those guys do fade. And it becomes, if it becomes a job, like no one likes to work. I don't think, like if it's an actual work, like no one, I mean, like, you like do it because you make a living. I don't think anyone's like, I'll go break rocks.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
when,
one of my favorite things is going to look through some of the old ISWA books, and you see
oh
the
yeah,
placements, and you're like, wow, who's that guy? Where'd that guy end up? And end up, checking it. Now we can check track profiles and stuff, and see like, wow, he didn't even wrestle in high school. Holy cow, this kid beat Angel Escobedo or something. Whatever
oh,
happened
yeah.
to him, or some,
Well,
those types of things, and like, wow, that kid's, they're novices.
just
They're second or third right behind these guys, and where'd they end up?
I think everyone's path's different. Like especially when you're going to some of these bigger schools, you have to like choose. You have to choose your path. At a different time.
Mm-hmm.
There's some guys that are like, hey, I'm going to focus on this. Like, what was the kid from Pioneer? Remember, he was Mr. Football.
Jack
He doesn't
Kaiser.
even go to a big school.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. He now he's playing football at Notre Dame.
Yeah. Like that's he got to high school and said, okay. Someone was telling one of the Mount Carmel kids. They said like, oh yeah, we lost Colin Kelly. I think was it Colin Kelly's older brother? They said like, yeah, he didn't come out this year. He was really good, really talented, probably right in the rank for a state title. Wrestled through his like sophomore year. He's going on a baseball scholarship to Western Michigan, and I'm thinking, and he's a pitcher. I'm thinking like, I mean, some of these guys get on you and tear your arm apart.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna lose like Western Michigan money wrestling Drew Hughes on a Tuesday. Like pass. And that happens.
Yeah. So just interesting stuff to see, and and like like you said, and it's a different path for everybody, and different. As a coach, there's no cookie cutter solution for every
Yeah,
kid.
and
Some you
it's
throw them to the wolves, some you gotta hold back and push them.
I might go back and read it, but it's Facebook, so like it's a black and white issue. There's no gray. Like either you're on the left or you're on the right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's however you feel. You're 1,000% right, or you're 1,000% wrong. And they're 1,000% wrong. I think there's like a gray.
Yeah. There's a medium in there, and it depends on the kid. Depends on what. And number one, it depends on the kid. Depends on financially. Can you get to enough events? I mean, I'm we were doing the math, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how you get that many matches in a year. And then I'm also thinking, okay, if each event is this much, and that's just to get there. That doesn't include a hotel. Doesn't include gas. Doesn't include I mean, and that's one thing I asked. And it's one of those things I would love to hear some of the top guys. How much money have you spent on this sport for that college scholarship? Would you have been bad? Would you honestly, ask Jesse's dad, would you, if you would have taken that money that you went to Super 32, you went to this camp, you went to this, if you would have put that into a stocks, whatever, some kind of investment, and
Sports gambling.
Yeah, sports gambling. And Jay Purdy's probably said, "Let's not talk about that." I asked that to a parent one time. I won't mention the name, and I kind of just was like, he's like, I don't even want to think about it. How much are you spending for that scholarship? And
Softball's the same, man. Like you're talking probably even. Dude, we knew a family from Crown Point, and their daughters. We still know them. It's not like they left. Their daughters were like literally the best players in the country.
Yeah.
Like, and the younger one would play for a team in California, and she'd fly out like once a month to go practice. Nice. And I would just think like, man, like, I don't know if I could put, and obviously my daughter's not at that level. So if anyone's like, yeah, like, I don't know why he's even talking like that, we'll be on black and white sides of the Facebook argument too. But I don't know if I'm putting my daughter on a plane to go to, halfway across the country. But dude, she's unreal good, and it paid off for her. She's going to, a top Division I program.
Yeah.
But like, it's crazy, man. It's just like a crazy, and those guys are like, the mental side of it's crazy too for them. Just talking to those guys, and my daughter did some training with them, or was trained by them, not training with them. It's different. Like you're not training with David Taylor, like he's actually training you and you're paying him. But they would be like, we'd say this, and they're like, yeah, like, why aren't, just do it. And it's like, yeah, but like, you're a freak of nature. Like God blessed you. Like, yeah, but like, why would you think you couldn't do it?
Yeah. That's, yeah. I mean, definitely the memories are good. I definitely, and like Coach saying, is it a transaction or is it transformation? And, there's a lot of memories. There's a lot of building, and, you're going to have, driving to Florida for a tournament. There's a lot of fun memories. I know, when we go to Disney with high school team, a lot of kids don't remember the matches, but they remember, the cannonball contest that some dude won that I swear was the biggest cannonball I've ever seen in my life. That kind of stuff is what you're going to remember. And, that's, there's a handful of kids that I remember go there, probably wrestle with us. They wrestled in college, but at the same time, what do they remember about high school wrestling? It's stuff like that. So,
yeah, well, in 10 years, they'll tell you there's a state champ, and you're going to say, well, there's a website for that.
Yeah.
We had a guy telling us at work that he was ranked 6th in the state, and my brother's like, I'm going to stop you. I know the guy that does the rankings. If you weren't 6, he's going to know. Um, but and like obviously, these guys, Purdy and Vargo and Garcia, they've had high level kids, and that's the other side of it. Like those guys have that success. I wonder if there's like the other side of that too. It's like, yeah, I took my kid in there, he got killed, he hated it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
You know,
So yeah, it's
not literally killed.
better than attorney fees. Yes, I
Yeah.
definitely agree there, Larry.
Um. Yeah.
Does
Now, but sometimes it doubles up. You have to pay attorney fees and sport fees.
yes, yeah,
Um. But no, it was just an interesting. Like I said, I didn't go. I think I didn't go like too into detail with all this stuff. Like I didn't like. I think at some point there was like some bickering and they're back and forth taking personal shots, which like that ain't for me, man.
yeah, yeah.
I just thought it was an interesting question. I appreciate Jose tagging me in that. I'm glad I didn't get all the notifications for all the comments after I was tagged.
Yeah. Oh no. I started reading it. I'm like, holy cow, this is ugly. And then it's like, I mean, it is interesting. It's definitely two people with vastly different philosophies, and when like you said, it's not black or white. It's gray. And there's a happy median, and obviously people in here saying, having different comments, and it's definitely something I know. I'm getting to that point where I'm gonna poke some people about, how do I get my kid to love the sport? I mean, how do I get my kid to be even decent at the sport? And it's kind of trying to be a hands off more, at least early on, and see
Maybe
how he
Bourne
loves
might
it.
be done in Michigan. He extended to overtime 2.0.
Yes, yeah. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
go. I'm gonna go and I was laughing. I was saying, telling Rocco on the way home from practice, I go, if you go to state, since he's at Pee Wee, Pee Wee like 40 pounds, there's going to be like 7 kids. So he's gonna place. I'm like, you get this really big money. Like, ooh. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you're ready yet. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I guess like, and you don't know until you know. I guess like you'll never know. And I think a lot of times kids will amaze you. Your kids
yeah,
will amaze you.
yeah. So
Like you throw them out there and you'll be like, oh man, like maybe they're not ready for this, and then they find a way. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you think it's gonna be the end of the world, and then it really isn't. So it's pretty amazing, like how that works out. Almost said a swear word. Like the
man,
third time ever on the show. I think that'd be my third one.
yeah, I almost said one too. I don't like putting the explicit. I know when we do High School Wrestling Weekly, we don't have to put explicit. Almost did this week because of some of the guests. I don't know if you listened to that. It was pretty good. They had some interesting fellas on the.
I didn't get to listen to it this week.
Uh,
I've been working, man. I've been grinding away on all these rankings, trying to get the top 25 out, get some recognition out.
yeah,
If you're not in the top 25, it's not because I hate you. It's just, it's just we actually probably could have went more, but 25 almost shut down the site.
yes, yeah. We're sticking with 25. I had to do some emergency programming duty, so oof, man, we've gone, geez, an hour and a half already just talking. No structure as usual.
Yeah. No, I think, dude, hey, man, you're not, Chris ain't telling me nothing I don't know. Like, you're going to find, I think those are the type of things, those like make and break moments. Like if you go there and you lose and you do take those losses, like how do you rebound and how do you, do you still want to go? Like if you're winning all the time, the first time you lose, like, is it like you're done now or what? It's very interesting, you know. I think that's huge too. Like,
Yeah,
I think those who's number ones where Jesse's gone, and obviously we're watching from afar, and I'm sure he doesn't like losing, but I think he's came back better after those. Like, and I think that's huge.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's interesting to see, especially wrestling. It's a hard sport. It's not for everybody, as I think I want to say Purdy just said a little bit ago. It's not for everybody. Unfortunately, it is for everybody, but it's not for everybody. I mean, it's tough, and I know we have some kids in there that I want them to stay out, but I know it's gonna be rough for you guys to stay in the sport because it's hard. It's not easy. You got to put yourself out there, and you're gonna get beat. You're gonna wear this crazy outfit. and you're going to be in front of everyone, and everyone's going to see you lose or win, and a lot of times
Yeah.
lose. So
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, man. Like I think that's like the beauty of it. Like one, you get a lot of what you put in. I think it's like a true sport. Like there's no, people say, well, politics, like, oh, the coach, the Uncle Rico. If he would have put me in that, we would have won state for sure. You know, like you get your opportunity to win your spot. Like there, your grind pays off. Like if you work harder than that person, like that's the beauty of it. I mean, I'm speaking to the preaching to the choir, but that's the beauty of it. And it could be for everybody because there's no like clear cut. Like look at the guys that are ranked number one right now. Like there's a huge difference between everybody that's in there, and like different levels of athleticism in there. And like you could be a terrible athlete and like find ways to win, or you could be an amazing athlete and find ways to win. And so I think that's the coolest part of it.
yeah, well, I was the coaches I'd go with to Big Tens and stuff. It was always funny when you go to Big Tens and you see guys warming up and just see how these people run. You could tell just by how someone runs how some of these guys are really good athletes. Some are two left feet. They're falling on their face almost jogging to get warmed up, and it's interesting to see. And these are Big Ten wrestlers. These are the best wrestlers in the country, and you can tell that some of them are not very athletic, but they just work their butts off. They're hard nosed. They work their butts off in the weight room. They're strong. They're freaks in other ways other than being able to do backflips and doing stuff like Reese Humphrey type stuff. But it's interesting to see at that level. We always make fun of like, holy cow, how is this kid a top 5 guy in the country? And look at how he runs. He looks horrible running.
Not to like get sidetracked. I'm sidetracked all night, man. I'm all over the place. But yeah, I think 106 and 13 is gonna be crazy. But at Evansville, I mean, across the state, like those are always tough weights. But Evansville is unreal tough. But like, did you watch the Netflix Team Foxcatcher documentary?
I believe I did.
They had a lot of like home video. Man, Jim Humphrey is all in that, man. Like a lot of Jim Humphrey interview in there.
Yeah, he was there quite. I mean, I know. Actually, I met Dave Schultz's son at NCA's when I was talking to Reese Humphrey once. They were hanging out together, so yeah.
Isn't that like? I mean, like that was like a pretty cool insight. They had a lot of home videos, and it's kind of like the inside of that. And obviously, it's a terrible story. I think it's like coming up the anniversary, right? Or just passed.
It just passed a couple days ago.
But Jim Humphrey had a huge part. Like not only with Team Foxcatcher, but man, in the early to like 2000, 2005, probably like 2000. When did Reese graduate? 2005, 2006, 2005? Those North teams were stacked, man.
I think it was 4. He was like junior my first year out of college, I think.
I thought he was a year behind Alex and those guys.
He was the same year as, so he's a year behind. I mean, there is a website. He was a year behind. He was the same year as Angel.
Yeah,
you're right,
those guys were a year behind Alex.
Yeah, he was a year behind Alex. Alex was 2004, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so yeah, he was 2005.
Man, like
for this one website.
And think about like the dudes that were. So yeah, like what Jason said, the Olympic coach for 2 different countries, and he was just like doing club practices, in Indianapolis in the early 2000s. Just showing like next level stuff, like Dave Schultz level stuff.
Yeah.
But if you get a chance, check that out. It's on Netflix. A lot of Jim Humphrey, a lot of like insight to like how that was going.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
I've
watched a handful of similar things, but it's like I don't know which ones I've watched and which ones I haven't watched at this point.
Yeah. No, it was good. I watched it the other day. It was really well done. I wouldn't say it's good because obviously we all know the ending.
Yeah.
It'd be like Kobe, like Joe said, like, Kobe died the same day as Dave. Like, it's like, oh, the Kobe Bryant movie was really good. Like, nah, you know how it ends. It's so sad.
Yeah.
But,
You weren't when we went to watch the Foxcatcher movie in Chicago the one time.
Yeah.
That was
Debut, man. We seen Vince Sessa there.
yeah. That was very interesting because the guys be like someone like right around us. It was that uncomfortable laughing, and I don't think they knew how the ending was. And when Dave was shot,
Yeah.
the guy just like gasped, like, "What just happened?" And we all knew what the ending was going to be.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
like, we had a pretty good idea how that was gonna go.
yeah. And the guy behind is like, "Oh wow, that wasn't supposed to happen."
Yeah.
So, interesting sidetrack there. So, um, this week we got sectional. Woo, yeah. Rankings will our final rankings are gonna be coming out probably tomorrow. I know Caleb just texted me something. I did not read it because we were on here.
Yeah, he asked if you can text Robert Falcons and ask him if he can bump it back so he can get a couple extra days.
Yeah, yes, yeah. He said the rankings will be out in the morning, so we're gonna be cranking those out. So look,
and they'll be locked. They'll be locked, and that'll be it, man.
Yep.
Another year in the books.
Yep, we're gonna write them out and see how they perform. I have a feeling they're gonna do pretty well as usual. Kind of interested. You know, this is gonna be a fun state series. A lot of great matches from the get go, and a lot of great storylines that we get to watch. And on top of that, seniors. I just got some emails about singlets for the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic. Excited for that. They just announced.
I could probably. You want me to draw? If we did sectional rankings, how many should we do? We can't. We don't have to go like 5 deep on that, right?
Jeez, that would be horrible. You don't have to do one at the tri sectional at 113.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy. But the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic, hey, we're within 70 days of the event. We're like less than 2 months.
It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be at Peters Township High School. It's not at the University of Pittsburgh, which is just outside Pittsburgh there. So, we probably should put that link to. Okay, make sure that people can purchase tickets because it looks like they have tickets for sale, possibly. So, definitely need to get that started out for all our fans. Hopefully, we can make that a little more home-esque because last time it was a very hostile environment, which was kind of cool to be in, but at the same time, I want more Indiana people there. So, I gotta get that out. I totally forgot that email. So, looking forward to that. Looking forward to taking another team there. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to see, to showcase our seniors again on that kind of stage. So just as a heads up for seniors, something to kind of work for. We're still working on weight classes. I have not gotten a final. I'm gonna probably poke them for what are our final weight classes so I can start poking coaches and kids and kind of we have to shift some kids around. I gotta make sure. I gotta figure out who I'm gonna shift and who I'm gonna say I'm sorry to.
Yeah, but we want to do that after the state final so they can't see Joe face to face.
Yes, I'll do. It'll be via email. Then I'll block your email and phone number. No, I mean, it is what it is, and being able to showcase our kids. I'd love to take 30, our 30 best guys, but I believe we can only take. I think it's only going to be 12 or 13. So we'll do what we do, and hopefully have a great group of kids that go out there and kick some butt.
Yeah. Go win it, man.
Yep, we're gonna get some revenge. We're gonna have special training sessions at the fort. With Andy's gonna open it up, and we're gonna hammer it out. We're gonna be ready, and we're gonna kick some PA butt. So,
and get some cool gear.
Yes, and get some cool gear. So, any other last bits of advice? It's 11 o'clock my time, and I'm ready to go.
Nah, nothing, man. Had some bad wings from B-Dubs and Crown Point. I'm going to send them a bad Yelp review.
Uh-oh. So, if you're a man,
I'm a little disappointed.
You got to have a wings, etc. like we do around here. That's where our go-to place.
I think there might be one in Valpo. Yeah. I don't got one in Crown Point.
They good, solid wings, pretty consistent. So, but with that, we're going to get going. Got a big weekend coming. We'll be probably back on our Monday schedule. That way, we'll have a lot to talk about on Monday, and talk some wrestling. And I'm excited to get sectional started. So good luck, everyone. Hope everyone starts and ends tomorrow, Saturday healthy and make weight and all that good stuff, and a lot of great action. No bad calls from the refs, no controversial calls, and
They don't do that, Jeff.
I gotta hope. I gotta hope. So no controversy, no illegal slams that calls.
See, I started a revolution, man. We're all boycotting the Crown Point one. Everyone's saying it's the worst. I'm so upset.
So gotta go with the Merville. Oh, okay. So I was trying to figure out what Cook said. So anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Have a great weekend. Good luck, everyone, and we'll see you Monday.